The tea started 2 months ago. Laura brought it to me on a Tuesday evening, February 12th. She walked into the living room carrying a steaming mug, her smile soft and familiar, the same one that had greeted me for 15 years of marriage. "Thought you could use this," she said, setting it on the end table beside my recliner. "Chamomile with honey. Good for relaxation. After 15 years, you learn the rhythms of a marriage like you learn the sound of your own heartbeat." This was new, calculated, wrong. I'm Michael Turner, 42 years old, mechanic at Davidson's auto shop on the south side of town. My hands are permanently stained with grease that no amount of pumice soap can fully remove. I come home every evening at 6:15, shower, eat dinner with Laura, and settle into my recliner to watch the news. Simple routines, predictable patterns. The kind of life that doesn't make for interesting stories at parties, but one I'd been content. With Laura and I had built something solid, or so I'd believed. We'd met at 27 at a friend's barbecue. She'd worn a yellow sundress that made her auburn hair glow in the afternoon light. We'd talked for hours about nothing important. Movies, travel dreams, the proper way to season a steak. 6 months later, I proposed. A year after that, we were married in her parents' backyard with 60 guests, and her grandmother's wedding dress altered to fit her perfectly. We never had kids. Tried for 5 years before accepting it wasn't meant to be. The disappointment had brought us closer, supposedly. We'd redirected that energy into our craftsman house on Maple Street, weekend antique markets, building a life that was ours alone. But something had shifted recently, like a wheel slightly out of alignment. Not enough to cause immediate problems, but enough that you feel the subtle vibration through the steering wheel. Laura had started pushing about the life insurance back in January, a month before the tea began. "We're not getting any younger, Mike," she'd said over dinner. "We need to think about security. What if something happens to you? What would I do?" I'd increased the policy from $100,000 to $300,000. It seemed reasonable. But then she'd kept pushing. Could we make it $500,000? What about disability insurance? Had I updated the beneficiaries on my 401k? The questions came wrapped in concern, delivered with touches to my hand and worried looks. But there was something underneath them, like finding a sharp edge hidden in soft fabric. And then came the tea. February 12th. I remember because it was the day before Valentine's Day, and I'd thought maybe she was starting something romantic early, every single evening since then. 8:30 p.m., like clockwork. She'd appear with that mug, watch me take the first sip, then settle onto the couch with her phone. Always her phone now. The soft blue glow illuminating her face as her fingers moved across the screen with practiced efficiency. She used to curl up next to me in the evenings. We'd share random thoughts, laugh at local news absurdities, debate whether to order Chinese or pizza for Friday night. Now she sat across the room, a pleasant smile fixed on her face whenever she caught me looking, but her attention always pulled back to that glowing screen. Her phone had become a fortress. She'd added a passcode. For security, she'd said after reading about identity theft. She'd angle the screen away when I walked past. Calls that used to be taken in front of me were now answered with, "Hold on. Let me go somewhere quieter," followed by the soft click of the bedroom door closing. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was planning something for our anniversary in May. Maybe work was stressful. She managed a dental office and dealt with insurance companies all day. Maybe I was creating problems where none existed, but my gut knew better. In 20 years of fixing cars, I'd learned to trust that feeling when something was off. The engine might still run, but you could hear it in the timing, feel it in the idle. Last night, April 10th, I'd watched her from the kitchen doorway. She hadn't heard me come down for water. Her face was illuminated by the phone screen, and she was really smiling, not the practiced one she gave me lately. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, typing and deleting, crafting each message with care. When she finally looked up and saw me, the phone disappeared into her lap so fast it might have been a magic trick. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. That fixed. Smile sliding back into place. Just thirsty, I answered. I'll make you some tea, she offered immediately. No, water's fine, I said, but she was already up, already moving to the kitchen with determined efficiency. 5 minutes later, she was pressing a mug into my hands. This will help you sleep better, she insisted. I'd taken it upstairs, poured it down the bathroom sink when she wasn't looking. The sound of it gurgling down the drain felt like betrayal, but not as much as the way she'd watched me carry it upstairs, her eyes tracking the mug with an intensity that made my skin crawl. This morning, April 11th, she'd been deleting messages. I'd walked into the bedroom to grab my wallet, and there she was, her thumb moving in that telltale swipe and tap pattern. Message after message disappeared with precision. Spring cleaning? I asked, trying to keep my voice light. She laughed. Too quick. Too bright. You know me, can't stand clutter, even digital clutter, she replied, but her hands had been shaking. Just slightly. Just enough. I told myself I was imagining things. But tonight, watching her delete message after message with fingers that shook just slightly, I realized I had a choice. Live with the doubt, or find out what my wife was hiding from me. The shower started at exactly 9:47 p.m. on April 11th. Laura had a routine for everything, including her showers. 15 minutes, never longer, never shorter. The bathroom door would close, the water would start, and I'd hear her humming. Some pop song from the radio that would stick in my head for days. Her phone sat on the nightstand, face down, like it always did during her showers. I'd been staring at it, wrestling with the decision. My hands trembled as I picked it up. The passcode screen glowed at me accusingly. I tried our anniversary, 0517. Nothing. Her birthday, 1108. Nothing. Then, on a hunch, I tried something else. 0213, February 13th, Valentine's Day. The phone unlocked. Her messages were right there. The most recent thread was with someone named D, just an initial. My stomach was already turning as I opened it. The first message I saw stopped my heart. He drank it all tonight. Still no reaction. Maybe we need to increase the dose, she had written. I scrolled up, my vision blurring, my hands shaking so badly, I nearly dropped the phone. The messages went back to early February. I found the first one, February 5th, a week before she'd started the tea. David had asked, "When are you going to tell him about us?" Laura replied, "I'm not. There's another way." "What do you mean?" he questioned. "What if he just wasn't around anymore?" she suggested. The conversation evolved from there. By February 8th, they were discussing methods. By February 10th, they'd settled on antifreeze in tea. She'd started serving it February 12th, 2 days later. David wrote, "The insurance increase went through?" Laura confirmed. "Finally, $300K. He didn't even question it." "Perfect. Once this is over, we can finally be together," he replied. "I can't wait much longer. Every time he touches me, I want to scream," she confessed. "Patience, baby. We have to be smart about this," he cautioned. "The tea method is working, but it's taking too long," she complained. "Antifreeze is traceable if they test for it. Small doses over time look like kidney failure," he explained. "I know. I just want him gone," she responded. "Soon. Then it's just you and me and enough money to start fresh," he promised. I sat on the edge of the bed, the phone heavy in my hands, reading my own death being planned like a grocery list. They discussed dosages, timelines, how long after my death they should wait before being seen together publicly, whether they should use the insurance money to move away or stay and weather any suspicion. There were photos, too. Laura and this David, her arms around him, kissing him. The timestamps showed afternoons when she'd said she was at work, weekends when she'd claimed to be visiting her sister in Columbus. In one message thread from last week, April 4th, Laura had written, "He's so pathetic, sitting in that chair every night like a lump, completely clueless." David responded, "That's what makes this perfect. He trusts you completely." Trusted, past tense. He's already dead, he just doesn't know it yet, she corrected. How's he feeling? Any symptoms? He asked. Some fatigue. I can see it in his eyes. A few more weeks and it'll look like natural kidney failure, she reported. You're sure he's drinking it all? He pressed. I watch him every night. Every last drop, she assured him. The shower was still running. Laura was still humming. Some love song, I realized now. The irony made me want to vomit. They'd met at her gym in early February. The messages made that clear. She'd joined the gym on February 1st, met him on February 3rd, started having coffee by February 5th. By February 8th, they were planning my murder. Laura had asked, "Should I cry at the funeral?" David advised, "Of course. You're the grieving widow. Sell it." "I'll wear that black dress you like," she offered. "The one with the low neckline?" "Perfect. Grieving but available," he replied. "You're terrible," she teased. "You love it," he responded. I screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every casual discussion of my murder. My phone was in the living room, but I used the email function on Laura's phone to send everything to myself, then deleted the sent message. The water shut off. I placed the phone exactly as I'd found it, face down, slightly angled toward her side of the bed. My hands were steady now. The shaking had been replaced by something cold and clear. Laura emerged in her terry cloth robe, her hair wrapped in a towel, skin pink from the hot water. She looked so normal, so much like the woman I'd married. "You're in bed early," she observed, smiling that practiced smile. "Tired," I managed, surprised my voice sounded normal. She walked to the nightstand, picked up her phone. I watched her check it, probably making sure I hadn't touched it. Satisfied, she set it back down. "Want some tea? I could make you a cup." "Before bed," she offered casually. The casualness of it, the ease with which she offered to poison me, again. "No thanks. I'm good," I declined. She climbed into bed beside me, and I lay there beside this stranger wearing my wife's skin. She was asleep in minutes. I lay awake, planning. She thought I was the perfect victim. Trusting, predictable, easily disposed of. She was about to learn how wrong she was. The cameras arrived on April 13th, 2 days after I'd discovered the truth. I'd ordered them overnight shipping, mixed with other items to avoid suspicion, batteries, phone chargers, the mundane, things that show up at every house, tiny devices, no bigger than buttons. I installed them while Laura was at her Saturday yoga class, the one she'd started attending every Saturday since joining the gym in February. One camera went in the kitchen, tucked between cookbooks on the shelf with a perfect view of the counter where she prepared my tea. Another in the living room, positioned to capture both my chair and the couch where she sat with her phone. Each connected to an app on my phone, storing everything in the cloud. That first evening after installing them, Saturday, April 13th, watching her prepare my tea was surreal. She hummed while she worked, measuring out the tea leaves with care. Then came the small bottle from behind the coffee maker. 3 drops into the cup, a quick stir. The smile returning to her face as she carried death to me in a ceramic mug that said, "World's Best Husband." "Here you go, honey," she said sweetly. "Thanks, babe. You're too good to me," I replied, forcing warmth into my voice. I took the mug, smiled, and pretended to sip. I'd been practicing this for 2 days now, since discovering the truth. The fake swallow, the satisfied sigh, the way I'd hold the mug, at an angle that suggested drinking when really the liquid barely touched my lips. Sunday, April 14th, I started my disposal routine. When she got absorbed in her phone, I'd pour a little into the potted ficus in the corner. The plant had been healthy when she started poisoning me in February. Now, 2 months later, it was starting to drop leaves. Monday, April 15th, I perfected my system. "Just going to grab some cookies," I'd announce, and dump half the cup down the kitchen sink. Or I'd go to the bathroom, take the mug with me, and pour it down the toilet. Tuesday, April 16th, I tried something different. While she was refilling her wine glass, I switched our mugs. Hers had coffee, mine had poison. "Cheers," I said when she came back. She raised mine, now hers, and took a long sip. I watched her throat work as she swallowed her own poison. By Thursday, April 18th, she was complaining of headaches. "I feel like garbage," she groaned, rubbing her temples. "You should see a doctor," I suggested with concern. "You've been looking pale." That night, she only put 2 drops in my tea instead of 3. I made sure to switch our mugs again. Friday afternoon, April 19th, I met with Detective Sarah at a coffee shop 20 miles outside town. I showed her everything on my laptop. The text messages, the videos from the past week of Laura poisoning my tea. Detective Sarah's expression changed as she reviewed the evidence. "Mr. Turner, this is extensive. How long have you been documenting this?" she asked. "I found out 8 days ago. Started recording 6 days ago. But their planning goes back to early February," I explained. "And you're still pretending to drink." "The tea?" she questioned. "Every night," I confirmed. "Why didn't you come to us immediately?" she pressed. "I needed solid evidence. Videos, documentation," I answered. She studied the freeze frame of Laura dropping liquid into my mug. This alone would be enough for attempted murder charges. Combined with the messages showing premeditation and conspiracy, they're looking at serious time, she assessed. "So we can arrest them now?" I asked hopefully. "We could," she said slowly. "But if we can catch her in the act one more time with marked evidence, it's even stronger. Tomorrow night, April 20th, can you do that?" "Yes," I agreed. "We'll have units positioned outside. The moment she puts anything in that tea, we move." "You'll need to give us a signal," she instructed. "I always check the door locks before bed. I could do that earlier than usual," I suggested. "Perfect. The moment you check those locks, we're coming in," she confirmed. Saturday, April 20th arrived with Laura feeling better. The small doses of her own poison over the past few days had given her headaches and nausea, but nothing she'd connected to the tea. That evening, she was almost cheerful. She made chicken parmesan, opened wine, suggested a movie. "This is nice," she said, curled against me on the couch. "We should do this more often." "We should," I agreed, knowing we never would again. At 8:30, she stood. "Tea time," she announced. I watched her go, then checked the camera feed on my phone. She was efficient tonight. The bottle came out immediately, but instead of 2 or 3 drops, she tilted it further. 10 drops fell into the mug. She was accelerating the timeline. 2 months of small doses hadn't worked fast enough. She wanted this over. She brought the mug to me with that same loving smile, but her eyes were different. Eager, expectant. "Made it extra strong tonight," she said. "You look like you could use a good night's sleep." "You always know just what I need," I replied, taking the mug. I raised it to my lips, pretended to take a long sip. Her eyes tracked the movement with an intensity that would have been loving if it wasn't homicidal. "I'm going to check the locks," I announced, standing. "Want to make sure we're secure for the night." "Already?" "It's not even 9?" she questioned. "Just feeling cautious tonight," I explained. I walked to the front door, mug still in hand. I turned the deadbolt, checking it. Twice, the signal. Then I moved to the back door, did the same thing. When I turned around, Laura was standing in the kitchen doorway watching me. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Perfect," I said. "Everything's perfect." That's when we heard the knock at the door. Firm, official, police. "We need you to open this door," the voice commanded. The color drained from Laura's face. She looked at me, then at the mug in my hand, then back at me. In that moment, she knew. "You should probably get that," I suggested, taking a real sip of the tea for the first time. "Just a small one, enough for her to see. It tasted bitter, almost as bitter as betrayal." "Police! Open the door now!" the voice insisted. Laura stood frozen, her face cycling through confusion, fear, calculation, and finally, desperate understanding. "Mike," she whispered. "What did you do?" "I think the question is, what did you do?" I countered. The door burst open. Detective Sarah entered first, followed by 4 uniformed officers. "Laura Turner?" Detective Sarah asked. Laura's survival instincts kicked in. Tears appeared instantly. "Officers, thank God you're here. My husband, he's been acting strange. I think he might have done something to himself," she cried out. "Mrs. Turner, please step away from the doorway," the detective instructed. "You don't understand. He's sick. He's been paranoid, thinking I'm trying to hurt him," Laura insisted desperately. I picked up the mug again, swirled the contents. "This tea, you mean? The one you just made me? The one you put 10 drops of antifreeze in?" I asked calmly. "You're confused, baby. You're not well," she pleaded. "February 13th, I said. "The day after you started poisoning me. That's your phone. Passcode. You met David Crenshaw on February 3rd at the gym. Started planning my murder on February 8th. First cup of poison tea, February 12th. Her hand went to her ear. Her tell when lying. Or how you delete your text messages in batches. But only the ones from David," I continued. "I don't know what you're talking about," she denied. I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and turned it toward Detective Sarah. On the screen was tonight's footage. Laura adding drops from a small bottle into my mug. "That's fake." He edited. "It," she protested. "Mrs. Turner, we have a warrant for your arrest," Detective Sarah announced. 2 officers moved toward her. She backed up, her composure cracking. "Mike, please, I love you," she begged. "He's so pathetic, sitting in that chair, every night like a lump, completely clueless." "Your words, Laura. April 4th, to David," I quoted. She went white. "He's already dead. He just doesn't know it yet," I added. "How?" she started. "I found out April 11th, 9 days ago. I've been documenting everything since," I revealed. "Ma'am, hands behind your back," an officer ordered. "No, it was David. It was all his idea," she screamed. "I can't wait much longer. Every time he touches me, I want to scream." "That was you, Laura. February 8th, I recited. The mask slipped completely. "Fine. Yes, I was poisoning you. Yes, I wanted you dead. The same routine every single day, the same chair, the same boring conversations. I was dying inside," she exploded. "So you decided I should die instead," I stated. "David made me feel alive." "Again!" she shouted. "And the $300,000 life insurance?" I pressed. "The money was just a way to start over," she admitted. The handcuffs clicked around her wrists. As they led her toward the door, she turned back. "How long have you known?" she asked. 9 days. Long enough to switch our mugs a few times. "How are those headaches?" I responded. The realization hit her. "You poisoned me?" she gasped. "No, Laura. You poisoned yourself. I just didn't stop you," I corrected. Detective Sarah stayed behind after they took Laura away. "We're picking up David Crenshaw right now. He's probably waiting for her text that you're dead," she informed me. "Instead, he'll get you at his door," I replied. She looked at me. "You took a real sip. From the poison tea," she observed. "Just a small one. Needed her to see it." "I'll go to the hospital, get checked out," I assured her. "You could have called us immediately," she pointed out. "I needed proof, real proof," I explained. She nodded. "The prosecutor will want to meet with you tomorrow," she said. My phone buzzed later. A text from Sarah. "Crenshaw in custody. Already. Trying to flip on your wife, claims it was all her idea. No honor among murderers. 6 months later, October 20th, I was installing a transmission when Tom knocked on the bay door. 'Mike, you got a visitor,' he called out." The woman from the prosecutor's office had updates. "Sentences came down this morning. Laura got 12 years. Conspiracy to commit murder. Attempted murder by poisoning. She'll serve at least 8 with good behavior," she reported. "And Crenshaw?" I asked. 10 years as an accessory. His testimony against her backfired. Jury didn't buy his innocent act," she answered. She handed me a folder. "The house sale went through. After the divorce, you get all assets," she continued. "Laura wants to see you. She's requesting a visit," she added. "No," I said firmly. She says she wants to apologize, she pressed. She wants to manipulate. That's all she's ever wanted, I responded. After she left, I went back to work. There was something honest about fixing cars. No deception, just mechanical truth. I'd sold the Maple Street house in June, bought a small downtown apartment in July. No room for a recliner. Instead, I had a balcony where I'd sit with beer, never tea, watching city lights. The trust issues were probably permanent. I'd tried dating in September, Carol from the bank. When she'd offered to make coffee, I'd frozen. Watched her every movement. There wasn't a second date. Dr. Scott, my therapist since May, called it betrayal trauma. Said it would take time. The trial in August had been a media circus. Suburban poison plot, the headlines screamed. They'd used our wedding photo, Laura in white, me in a rented tux, both grinning. The ficus had survived. After everything, I couldn't throw it out. It sat in my apartment now, recovering slowly, putting out new green shoots since May. The poisoned leaves from February through April had all fallen off, but the roots had held. That evening, I stopped at a coffee shop. Just black coffee, I ordered. You sure? We make a killer chamomile tea, the barista offered. I'm sure, I confirmed. My phone buzzed, a text from Carol. I know the coffee thing was weird. My ex told me about what happened. If you ever want to try again, I promise to only serve drinks in sealed containers. Maybe trust could be rebuilt slowly, like coaxing new growth from poisoned roots. I texted back. How about a restaurant? They serve the drinks. It's a date, she replied. I raised my coffee mug to the empty air. To survival, and to whatever comes next, I toasted to myself. The bitter aftertaste of betrayal might never fully fade. But I was learning to taste other things, independence, truth, and maybe someday sweetness again. But not in tea. Never again in tea. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.